let's have a conversation about human rights and ethics. All right. So for anyone who ever like to go on the Wikipedias and read about random things, or a library or whatever it is, you might have come across a man named Kant, K-A-N-T, at a certain point. And he's really the father of human rights in this world, in this society. He's one of the first people who sat down and he took philosophy and he actually joined it with human existence to create laws, right, in Germany about how humans should be treated, you know, what constitutes as a right and what constitutes as, you know, violating somebody's right. And in this world that we live, these things are forgotten. It's very sad because right now is the time that we need these things the most, and we need to be focusing on these things the most. But such is the way of the world, right? So, Kant has this saying. I couldn't repeat it to you like verbatim, but it essentially says that every man, a woman, doesn't matter, right? Every person is their own ends, right? If you know what that means is, it's you are the end. You are your own person, right? You are not a tool. You are not anything else than that, besides just your own human being, with your own right to be alive, your own constitution, your own will. And he says every person should be treated as an end. It's when you start to treat people as a means to an end, is when you have violated the human dignity. You're no longer treating people as humans. You're treating them as tools. You're treating them as a way for somebody to move forward in their life and gain off of somebody else. And that's just not appropriate. It's not appropriate, right? So even though I live in this beautiful city of Vancouver, I'm sitting here watching a spectacularly terrible thing unfold in front of us, and we have the richest of the rich beside the poorest of the poor. And you know what this has done? Is everybody in between is lost. Right? There's no point to this anymore. This is absolutely disgusting. We should be ashamed with ourselves as human beings for allowing this to happen, regardless of what laws, whatever the government says. You know it's wrong. You know it's wrong, so don't sit there and try to play devil's advocate, yada yada, blah blah blah. This is not cool. This is what we're living at, right? I'm paying taxes, absorbent amounts of taxes to the government for them to do this to people. Tell me, what is the purpose of that? Why is the government selling death, right? Why is it such an issue, right? And I'll go even further. I'll go even further. I fucking cut my hand open at home. It was an accident. Crossed my right knuckle on my thumb. I can't even bend that thing or else it'll blow up. It's got a fucking couple of stitches in it, right? I can't go to work. I'm a laborer. I use my hands for work. Typically, it's not a big issue, right? You just go to a clinic, you go to a doctor, you get a note, and that's it. Hand the note into EI. You're on EI, yada yada, blah blah blah. Well, right now in Canada, good luck trying. If you don't have a GP, a general practitioner, or anything of the sort of that, good luck getting any sort of help whatsoever. You will be caught in the most evil, bureaucratic loop of disappointment that you have ever seen, right?
Dude, I'll give you 3 for 5.
Yeah, we got people selling fucking weed right on the street, right? But the point is I can't even find a doctor in the whole Tri-City area that will give me the time of day to sit down for 5 minutes and fill out my medical certificate so that I can go on EI. So you know what's happening is we're approaching the end of the month. I have about $1,000 left in my bank account. I'm starting to pull out all of my savings, all my stocks, right? Which isn't very much. And I have to move with one hand. I don't drive.
Oh, yeah. Idiot.
And that's it, right? That's the first world country. That's the way we're treated. It doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor. If you're rich, you can just pay your way out of it, and you can live an alternative universe right side by side with regular people here. It's pay to win, right? Like a fucking shitty video game. And that's exactly my point. So, long story short, I can't even get my medical certificate filled out by anyone. I've called around, I'm doing everything I possibly can. Nobody's gonna do me fucking any kind of anything. So, anyone comes to you and says, oh, we got free healthcare in Canada, that's a fucking lie. We got no healthcare in Canada. When this happened to me, right, I called for an ambulance. It's 4 in the morning, I'm bleeding out. It's gushing fucking blood. And I got the ambulance came quite quick, 8 minutes or whatever it was. Wrapped up my fucking thumb. I already had the bleeding under control at that point. And they sent me to the hospital. They said, hey, I said, just so you know, like, you got lucky. Like, there's not a very long wait at this hospital. There's one doctor, but in 2 hours, there's going to be a secondary doctor coming on for support. Well, that's just not true. It's just not true. None of it's true. This was Richmond Hospital, I'll say, too. I'll call them right out for this. So I got there, took my blood pressure, took my heart rate, and then I sat, they brought me to a room, a shared room, and I sat down there.
And it's not true in this case, but it's true.
And I waited. I waited for about 4 hours holding my thumb closed with my other hand, and then I passed out on the bed, right? I'm exhausted, lost my blood. I'm not a very big guy, right? I fucking woke up. Nobody came to check on me. Everybody else who was in that room had already been helped and seen and moved on. So this is where I start to get upset, right? About 4 hours, 4.5 hours into it, 5 hours into it, I call for the nurse. I go to hit the button on the side of my bed. It's not even plugged in. It's not even plugged into anything. I'm just sitting there in a bed that's kind of just been pushed off to the side. That's like not even a real bed, And I'm First Nations, I'm Métis. And then that's when I start to get upset, right? I stand up and I go to walk into the hallway. And who's walking through the hallway is a group of students, medical students or whatever it is, nurses or whatever. And they're doing a tour of the hospital. So going around, they come into my room, right? They walk right past me and they go into where the room I was in. They say, this is our triage room, right? And you know what I say? I turn around and I go, yeah, but they don't use it. And they laugh. Everyone laughs. And I said, this isn't funny. I said, I've been holding my thumb closed for 5 hours and I only need a couple of fucking stitches. That's ridiculous. So I start to get upset. I say, you know what? I've been here for a long time. Nobody has told me where I am in line. Yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. I said, I need some fucking stitches in my thumb right now. Like, this is getting inappropriate. So the nurse comes up to me and she goes, oh yeah, you're next in line. You know what that means? That means that they had forgotten about me and they kept pushing it, seeing other patients, not giving a flying fuck about me, right? And then doctor comes, right? He looks at it, he goes, oh. He goes, yeah, that's deep. He says, you're lucky though, because you hadn't cut anything super important, right? Thank God. Because if I did, I'd be fucked. My thumb would be fucked. I'd be hooped. And he goes, do you want me to just give you one of those butterfly Band-Aid type things, which is basically like a Mickey Mouse stitch? It's not real. It's over the knuckle of the thumb. I can't bend it in any way without it reopening. I don't know what kind of stupid this guy's a doctor, right? This is when I'm like, you know what? I'm the doctor now. Look at me, I'm the doctor now, right? I said, no. I said, you're gonna put 2 stitches in my thumb right on the knuckle so that it doesn't open because that's more secure and appropriate. And he goes, yeah, that's a good idea. What the fuck? So this doctor's like late 20s, early 30s probably, right? He looks young, healthy. And so he says, I'm gonna freeze your thumb because there's 2 nerves on the side of your thumb, on the inside and on the outside, right? It's quite painful to suture that up without any sort of freezing. So then he puts the freezing in and he says, my hand's laying there on the operating table, a little side table on the bed, right? He goes, open wound and everything, just sitting there. He fucking takes his thumbs, spreads open the thing that's like kind of closed, right? Just to check out what's going on. He says, I'll be back in 10 minutes once the freezing is set in. But he's gone for an hour. I'm sitting there with my fucking hand out in the open air with no coverage, fucking freezing in it, and I start to feel my thumb again. I start to feel it again. And I say to the nurse, hey, I was like, you need to come talk to me. She comes up to me and I go, do you know how inappropriate this is? I said, look at me. I said, I'm not a stupid guy, all right? I'm an electrician, right? You can tell me all of these excuses you want, but you and I both know that this is extremely inappropriate and you would never do this to anybody else who is here. So why is it me who's on the shitty end of the stick, right? She goes, sorry. She goes, I know, you're right. I'm right. If I'm right, then you're wrong. So you're fucking wrong. You people are fucking wrong, right? They keep telling me there's one doctor. It's not true. I seen 2 doctors walking side by side past me. I don't know what that means, but that doesn't mean one doctor's in the hospital. That means you're fucking bullshitting me, right? And I don't want to be that guy, but all these old Asian people who are coming in, oh, I have a chest cold, oh, I feel sick, they're getting all treated before me. And it's supposed to be based on severity. So the fact that somebody has a cough, right? They must have known what to say exactly to get help right away. But with my honesty, I'm sitting there with my thumb opened up like a fucking hot dog bun, and ain't nobody gonna do anything about it. This is Canada. This is fucking Canada. Ridiculous. You people should be ashamed of yourselves. There's no amount of we are fucking over blah 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 blah. If that's the case, then like what the fuck is going on? Like we don't have like what? I'm just cooked. Like at this point, I'm almost gonna grab the fucking suture kit myself and fucking sew my own thumb up together, right? I would. If it wasn't my thumb, if it was like something else, I would have just fucking done it myself because guess what? I'm not stupid, right? So the guy comes back after an hour because I complained. I started to get mad. I said, do I have to phone somebody? Do I have to phone an administrator or someone and complain about this? Because this is fucking ridiculous. I feel like nobody cares about me. And then the nurse looks at me in my face and she goes, don't say that. Don't say that. It's the fucking truth. And you know what happens? Is the doctor comes in. 15 minutes later, she goes and she gets him. He comes over. This guy looks like he's anxious. He's shaking, right? And he sat down and I said, you're going to put 2 stitches